Hello everybody and welcome to the 2023 PDGA Masters World Championships in Flagstaff, Arizona. This is MP50 coverage of the event presented by MVP Disc Sports. We are at Thorpe Park today. My name is Stephen Waits and I'm joined by Steve Boylan.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me here. I'm enjoying this whole process of being out here in Flagstaff and enjoying the weather.
So with a look back at our previous year's champions, our card this year, Steve, you're on here along with
Brian Schweberger. We commonly call him Schwebby. Yeti Reading. A lot of people know him by just Yeti. I mean, Yeti's been around this golf course and disc golf scene for a long time. It's been fantastic to be able to play with these guys. Robert Bainbridge also joined us. He's from California, and he's no stranger to these parts. We're happy to be a part of this grouping. It's a lot of fun.
And it was a lot of fun being out there with everybody. Hole 1 here at Thorpe Park, 600 feet. Par 4, and this really just sets the tone for the whole course. I mean, you got to hit your gaps and throw them straight, really. Like, there's not a lot of huge shots left or right. There's just not a lot of room for it out here. A few holes open up. Watching you get down the fairway. Brian, who has the most wins of any PDGA member.
Yeah, I think his wins is at, I think he's at 374 wins, not 350, but 374 wins. The guy's been on a tear this year. He's won 25 of 30 events just this year alone. I can't believe it. I mean, he's thrown 30 events already this year. It's his 31st. He's also won a major, so he's looking for his second major in his career, all the way back in 2013.
Jay Yeti here, third on the box, getting this round started. And you guys are really like on as soon as they say something, he hits that first tree. He still gets forward progress, so it won't be terrible down there. Probably about halfway through the hole, just a little under halfway. You watch Brian just peer the narrowest gap you can find. You really want to stay down the center here, as Robert's showing us with a little turnover right down the middle of the fairway.
He slides up. He gets up there quite a bit. He's still got to throw a little bit first. He's got a little bit of an hYZer to the hole. It's tucked in. It's got a lot of trees between there and there. But he puts a good show on here and gets just outside the circle areas. It's a lot of fun. I went ahead and threw second here. This was probably one of my better shots. I'm really excited to have this. Got a nice little kiss off the tree and then slid up there about 3 feet away.
Just nuzzled up, makes that first putt of the day really easy when you're looking at him like that. And Jay, who wasn't far off from you, but has a slightly different gap. You kind of had to throw an ante around those trees, and he has a straighter look, and he too kissed off a tree, got forward progress, but not as much as yours. And that brings us to Brian, who just laced one off the tee there.
Now Brian's doing his patented. He does his thumb. He's not real big on throwing the forehand or anything, but man, he has sweet control of the thumber. It comes up a little bit short, but he's still got to look at it.
Robert, who was runner-up at Tim Selensky's in Oregon, so both Masters events, PDGA Major Masters events this year, are in the mountainous regions out west here. Flagstaff being at 7,000 feet. I think hole 1's tee is at 6,800 feet elevation. So
the interesting thing on this is that you're the feature card. You're the last card of the day. On the first hole, you got a little bit of jitters. Jay he puts a really nice putt on this, just a little bit high off that bogey band.
Great birdie to start the day.
I was so excited about getting the birdie on the first hole.
You and Chris May are only 2 birdies for hole 1 on round 1. For a hole that averaged 0.45 over par, so definitely strokes on a lot of folks here. So great way to start the major championships.
Everybody taps out here, and then we'll head over to hole 2. Man, it was an honor and privilege to play with these guys, and I tell them that all the time.
All right, hole 2, 361. So this is fairly straight. You would want something that's gonna finish out to the left. You do have room on either side of the basket here, and again, like being straight, really, I think it plays into everybody's wheelhouse. But you were saying playing with these
guys is a true honor and privilege to play with these guys. I have a lot of good times. I had to choose which route I wanted on this one. There is a right route that you can go on the right side of those trees right there. And I want to try to go inside and then just kissed off that tree going to the left. Schwebby comes up. He does take that right route. He gets up there quite a bit. So he's got to look at it quite a bit closer than I do pre-setting.
What would you say with these tight tunnel shots like this, and you're throwing, high elevation, everything's gonna be more stable. Like,
so typically on a hole like this, I would usually use something like a fairway driver, maybe even a Firebird or something like that. I love my Firebirds, and try to play just a straight shot, maybe with a slight flex. But in this case, man, I'm throwing sidewinders on a lot of these shots. At this point in time here, I'm just throwing the upshot, trying to get up close so I can get ahead and tap out. But it's the elevation really does affect the discs. I had to come out and practice quite a bit just to understand what the discs are going to do, and mainly went with pretty much everything understable. There is a possibility of throwing an overstable disc here and there, but you have to put some meat on it.
Robert took that right side route, and as we can tell, like the trees aren't terribly close together. There's fairly, spots all over this course where you're not necessarily in trouble. You're just not hitting the lines you want, and everybody coming up short of the basket on the tees, and we're all within 10, 15 feet here. So
you see there the wind's blowing just a little bit, but we're on the side of a hill to where it's kind of forcing it to be swirling, so you don't quite know what the wind's going to be doing on each hole until you get to it, until you evaluate it, that kind of thing. So not the easiest situation to play in, but man.
So hole 3 here, this hole played at 0.38 over par. So far, every hole we've seen has been playing just barely over par. As you look, this might be the first opportunity to throw something stable, but you really have to get it out there. 350 feet. Anything early, there is some thicker vegetation here that we haven't seen on the previous 2 holes, so you really want to push it down that road on the right side.
Now this situation here, I actually on this shot, I threw an overstable driver. I wanted to get up there and have a look at it over that log, and I was blessed enough to be able to have a look at it.
It looked really great, but I'm just like the wind and at 350, it's a pure hYZer shot. It's really playing longer than that, and that's the trouble you run into when you're trying to throw these angles to get it to push long enough, is that sometimes they push wide right and get caught up, as Brian did.
So as an experienced player on this hole, the hole plays much further left than what you would normally have a disc do. So I loved Jay's thought on this, flexing something a little bit to get that distance because it is uphill, but purely hYZer shot might have been a little bit more fruitful.
He ended up just that little ditch line there on the right. It looks like Robert's heading this same direction, just behind that tree there. They're both in that ditch. So Brian furthest one out and right, going for that thumber that he has, having to go to it again.
That thing is patented, man. He's deadly with that thing.
And he look at the accuracy with it. What a roll with all the rocks and everything on the ground.
Puts it about 8 to 10 feet away. It's a great shot. It's great to see that kind of thing. He's got such style on that. Great. Bainbridge, he puts a little heat on this. I think he was looking at trying to go for it.
Yeah, pushed it a little long.
Pushed a little bit long, but he still got that putt.
Jay's got a lot to contend with, only being about 10 feet further down the road. He's got to come at a different angle, and he nearly draws metal on that.
Jay always amazes me with his putting prowess, and he's pretty fantastic about it. It's always a pleasure.
And with the furthest drive and the most open, there you go, put it right up in there for that easy par.
Yeah, I looked at that and said, you know, if I run this thing, I could be a little bit further. So I wanted to make sure I had an opportunity to try to get it, but at the same time, and as you can see, that Robert was just outside that area, and I had to, just caged off.
So this hole again played .38 over par. Nobody birdied this hole, and that's. We'll see a few holes today on this course that have few birdies and or none, and this is the first one we're getting to. So last hole we had 3, and the first hole we only had 2 birdies. So far, par is just the name of the game at Thorpe Park here.
We all finish out here and then head on to that next hole. I'm pretty excited about that next hole, but at the same time, want to get this one finished up. So you'll see I'm going to take my time a little bit, make sure we just get a nice square up to the target, and boom, move on.
Robert here for bogey, drawing the first bogey on the card through 3, so going into hole 4.
All right, this hole here has 2 different lines. You have an inside line, hYZer, and then you have that's righty hYZer, and then you can go out through these trees right here to the right and try to snuggle something up in there. I was trying to go a little bit further right, lifted it up just a little bit, I think. But I have just inside the circle 1 putt, I think, here. Went ahead and used an overstable disc. Had a nice look at it, man. It missed, but
from the tee it looked on point, and you got this hard packed ground. Anything coming in all sharp like that can really get away from you. And then if it doesn't get away, you can really hit a rock at high speed and do some damage. We've seen some of those this week so far.
Schweberger here, he took the lower route, which was probably a better call because there was some swirling wind. Man, he's so accurate. It's wonderful to watch that. Yeti gets up here. He takes that same route. Kind of gets through here. Has a nice little. Actually,
didn't look too bad, but then it's just that flare skip gets away from you.
Yeah, it is slightly downhill, so yeah, we'll get some sort of flare. Robert comes up and
a little bit wider, lower. Yep.
Yeah, so he puts it pretty close, man. It's
just slide right underneath it, yeah.
Jay's up there. He's getting ready to do one of his patent putting here. This is Jay's fantastic. I mean, just enjoyable to watch. Yeah. And nailed it.
Just outside circle and just really, dead center. Great putt.
All right, looks like I'm up here next. Looking forward to it. Got to give Jay some credit there for hitting that big putt. I think he sold some of my thunder here. Oh man, just come up short.
Drew Leto on it.
A little bit of roll, shouldn't be too big of a deal.
Now we're looking at Brian from about circle's edge. Little, he too draws metal and sits close.
It sits pretty close. I mean, he's in better shape. He's got that patent coming from underneath his legs, where he just kind of flows it through. It's a beautiful putt. It's his own style. I really enjoy that. Robert's up here. He's pretty determined. He just had a flub on a previous hole, so he's trying to make up for that.
So Robert and Jay both carding the birdies for hole 4, and this is the first hole in the round that's played under par for the field. So definitely one to be getting.
Wind was calm when I walked up there, and then it just started blowing a little bit. It was kind of interesting. So stop, focus, and just make sure you get it in the hole.
So hole 5 here, 401 feet, par 3. This is again kind of slightly uphill, going up against this hillside. Something that's gonna really test the strength of the players to get it there. It's playing further than the 401 for sure, and Jay's just trying to get as much as he can down the fairway with that.
So Jay takes a route left to right, man, that was an interesting route because it does open up some lanes if you're trying to go for that par without getting in trouble with the possible OBs here. Man,
Robert taking a little bit more straighter approach at it, but he puts it up a little high, and it's definitely going to finish with that movement left, as you can see here.
That altitude causing those discs to be overstable. Yep. Finishing left is going to happen quite a bit.
That looks a lot better. Same route, just got probably didn't get the height on it that you wanted, but it got up there. Hits a slight tree that'll keep it from sliding further, but
yeah, it's not in a bad position. It's right in the middle of the fairway. So far we've had 3 good throws on this. Schwebe's up here next, and it's not an easy birdie here.
Taking the same route as Jay, hit something but knocked him straight down.
Man, he loves this thumber, man. We're going to see this quite a bit today. We're going to probably see it for a lot on coverage. It's just a pleasure to watch. If anybody's looking at trying to learn how to do these thumbers, they're pretty fantastic. You can learn a lot from how.
Looks like Schwebe and Brian both getting caught up by those early bushes, just the front of the basket. So he was able to get that to turn over back into the fairway. He's asking for it to get off the tree, and
yeah, I think he catches a little, gets knocked down there.
Once again, we find you down here at the long drive.
Yeah, I drove pretty well. Pretty excited about that. Got inside the circle there for a nice little putt. So, Schwebe here makes a really nice run. Fortunately, it doesn't go, so he'll probably tap out for that bogey.
Ooh, Jay off the top of the basket. So him and Brian are looking at bogeys, and we got you and Robert cleaning up some par putts. But shout out to Sergio Celis.
Sergio Celis, yes.
He only birdie on this 401-foot par 3 here for round 1. Hole played half a stroke over par, but not for Sergio.
Sergio's from Texas. He's a great player. I tap out there. You guys will tap out. What can't really see on camera here is the elevation. Do have some elevation here. It's not quite as bad as it gets later in the holes. But these rocks do stop the disc sometimes, and you have to play that as well.
So hole 6, 600 feet, par 4. There is a Mando right. It doesn't really come into play because you're trying to get out to this open area where the camera's flying over right now. And then this gap that we're looking down is pretty much going to guide you towards the basket. Once you get out there in this hole, it's definitely an area where there's a lot of options. You don't have to really hit a specific line. If you're a little short, you might have to think about that Mando or turn over to get around those initial trees. I would say if you're not landing in the open, you want to push it just a little bit further so you can come back with the hYZer, which also plays into, again, like you were saying, the altitude. Robert trying to throw out around these trees and Mandos and just gets a hold of everything on this disc, aiming for the cameraman. What a shot. Pretty much like setting it down right where you want to be.
I was happy to try to follow. I was trying to go a little bit further right. Ended up with a little bit more distance, a little bit more cutoff than he was.
Crushed.
But I did crush it out there.
Should still be fine.
It should be.
Yeah.
You should still be fine. The hole is guarded though, so you got to be careful, and you want to make sure you have the lines. And this first shot is important for the setup for your second throw into the hole as a par 4.
And that, I'd say, would be the one thing that you hope not to do is be low and short. He's probably just a little bit past the mandel, but still enough that it's going to make that approach shot more work than what you'd want it to be. And Brian taking that same high turnover route. And he crushed it. And oh, yeah. It makes the cameraman turn around. He gets it all the way to the gap. We'll see where he lands here in a little bit. But as we can see with Jay, like being short the way back the way he is, he's got to get around these trees there in front of him.
It's definitely a difficult shot, but Jay's got these skills. He can do this. He still probably has about 340, 350 to the hole. And it's a well guarded, so it wouldn't be unusual to tip off a tree or something like that. Yeah, that's exactly what happens there. Robert's up next.
In position for that birdie if he can get one down there.
Boy, that looks nice. It looks real nice. And
you got it
and
right. Yeah.
It's through the trees, and now he's gonna putt out there. That's pretty fun.
So you did push pretty far. You're looking at a steep hYZer to come back around.
Steep hYZer. You have to go up over these trees and then have it dive. I actually chose a driver just because I was trying to get it to dive so fast.
That one about 40 feet left of the basket. Just kept carrying.
45, 50 left of the basket, and yeah, that's going to be a little bit. That's going to have to be a touch-up shot there.
Look at Brian. It's a 600-foot hole, just perfect turnover shot, and then drops this shot right next to the basket.
Thumber, man, he's right there.
300-foot thumber.
Oh man, I'm seeing him throwing further. And
yeah,
it's that bit.
Robert with his upshot. What if you don't get in the position off the tee as Yeti was, you're pretty much just trying to play to save that par.
He does. He drops it right there. I've got to go to a knee. You see the little hYZer line. I got to put it up there. I was pretty happy to just put it close and this
catches a rock and just settles down. There is a little bit of a drop off behind the basket, behind that log. Nothing too scary, but
Robert finishes out. We still haven't seen Schweberger yet.
No,
third shot yet.
Well, we got two disc land here. Here he comes right here. So he's just gonna
nice birdie there.
Just a little slap tap in for a birdie on this.
So there were some birdies on this hole. 9 birdies altogether out of the 66 players on this first round.
I wonder if any were any closer than Ryan's. So that was crazy.
It was crazy. It was a crazy good shot there.
Yeah.
So.
Hole 7, 271, par 3. So we're kind of playing back at hole 6. Again, this one I guess has a little bit more of a turning to the right, but the main danger here is that it's OB. We finally have a hole with some OB on it, long and left of the basket. Plays good into a lefty or a forehand kind of players.
Schweberger throws, and he just laces it, puts it right up there, slides right up about 12 feet away. Man, it was beautiful to watch. Robert comes up and he's going to try to duplicate the same thing.
Has the turn on.
Has the turn, but unfortunately, the altitude, I think, got him a little bit.
Yeah.
And he slid just outside.
Didn't hit. Oh, yeah. There it is right there.
Slid right outside that OB line. And, man, that's a disappointment. But he's inside the circle. He can probably hit that putt. I'm throwing a pro.
He's got to get
on there.
Okay. Yeah, you did. About 4 feet.
Yeah.
And you're fairly close to circle's edge, I'd say, over there.
I'm inside the circle there. Jay's going to come up. So we'll see what Jay does here.
I feel like we're looking at a really tall group of players on this card, too.
Well, except for me. I thought I'm only 5'9", and these guys are all over 6 foot. So,
yeah.
So it was a pleasure to be amongst the giants here.
Giving it a bid, drawing a little bit of metal there in the end. So yeah, don't hit your head on that par putt. Robert coming back in from the LB. Looking at
He's got such a
yeah.
That's such a pure putt.
Right on the bottom of the pole too.
No trouble, no thought about it. Just put it in the hole and move on. Wish I was like that. Here I am putting for birdie.
He gave you the line.
He gave me the line. I'm trying to follow his vapor trails there, and then we'll see what happens. It's just a little bit low.
But you're still like, it's one that you want. But I mean, Steve, you haven't had anything but green and white on the scorecard.
Yeah,
through 7. So yeah, definitely.
At this point in time, being one down, hitting the first birdie, and just kind of hanging out the pars, I was pretty satisfied. I'd like to see some birdies. I was a little disappointed to get this one, but there'll be other holes yet.
Brian with his pretty much drop-in birdie now that brings it into a tie here on the card through 7 at 1 under. So for sure going into hole 8, 330 feet. So this is similar to hole 5, but a little bit more uphill, a little bit more turning left. You know, you're thinking high altitude, you're gonna throw something that's gonna hYZer, but that slope really gives away quick down by the basket. It can travel fast.
This is not an easy hole. The gaps you have to hit and maintain going uphill against the altitude is just phenomenal. And
I'd say another trouble with this hole too is that there's on the normal layout for this course, there's 2 tee pads here that are shared, and you can tell that Brian and Robert both came in off of the dirt, like they're trying to take it as wide as they can.
Right, and they both have putts.
Robert, did I get through? He's looking. He got up there for sure. Got a close putt. What a shot! You're coming down more along the tee pad.
Yeah, I'm just trying to do a straight hYZer. If you see it finish here. Boy,
that's like we were saying.
That's going to be a precarious position down there.
Just got away. I mean, it hit the line, and the same thing with Yeti. It looks like his is just going to be a little short and left too.
Faded a little bit early. That just shows you how far uphill this really is. And he's going to have this approaching here. You can see he was still 100 or so feet out.
Looks like he rung up some wood or something.
This is a fun thing to do, guys. If you ever have a chance to just practice these putts, that'd be fantastic because
you were in there.
Yeah, I was in there.
There's not a lot of places in this course to be in there, but you found one of them.
Yeah, and you'd like to think that you know if you hit pretty close to the target, you're going to stay there. But in that case, I skipped down.
What a putt,
man! I'm telling you, Robert has got that pure putt. He's now feeling the groove. He's one of 4 people that birdie this hole, and it's exciting, man. Oh, wow!
Fell out the back. I couldn't even tell. Is it just outer chains? It just came out the back of it. Yeah.
Schwebe's played over 30 events this year, and he said that is his second pass through this year only. 30 events. It's got to be 60, 70 rounds. And that was his only second pass through this round, and he hit that putt. He's a little disappointed it didn't go in. That would have been a beautiful birdie to follow up with Roberts. Man, he's determined. He'll be all right.
How is your putter release so powerful, even as far out as 50 feet? A lot of the power on my putt is generated from like a little finger pop / wrist action at the very end. Hold a disc in your hand even when you're sitting down on a couch. You can kind of just pop it up. Try to pop the disc vertical. Do this and just slowly practice getting it higher. And you're just really trying to use your wrist, not really your arm. That's how I do it, and that's a tip to how you can do it too.
All right, hole 9, 369 feet, par 4, questionable par 4, but it's purely uphill, so it's definitely playing a little bit longer here. Not a lot of a landing zone by the basket.
Now, this is a tight fairway, and these guys are lacing them through these trees so far. It hasn't been a real big issue. And
That's the throw.
That's the throw.
So low and silly, but yeah.
Robert laces one up there, and then Schweby. And it's always a pleasure to watch him play. Man, he gets a hold of it, just gets
Same thing. You gotta
flattens it up a little bit, and then he's right up there as well.
just outside the circle. Definitely got a nice kick forward. Probably about 15 feet further than Roberts. So, I mean, again, you said it before, follow those vapor trails. Those guys will park.
Squeezed that right side here a little bit. Put a little bit too much juice on there. Got away with something. You know, I'm still out a bit, but I think it still get up and down from there.
Yeti's taking that same. Oh, he kicked left,
So yeah,
and it just kept going.
a little bit on that, and he ended up at the left. He's in a worse situation, but you know, it's Yeti. He can still work his way out of this.
So he's really just contending with those, with the small shrubs and small trees there. If he can get straight up and over those,
And it's pretty shot.
crashing it in. Oh yeah, right. Yep. Circle one. What a scramble for a birdie there.
This was interesting. I had the outside lane, so I chose to go with that little hYZer pitch up over the trees. That worked out pretty nicely.
Well, that branch looked like it really saved him from, probably saved the cameraman, but saved him from traveling further than where you want to be.
Yeah, he's feeling it. He just birdied the last few holes. He's feeling pretty hot, so he went for that.
This is for Eagle.
Yeah, this is for Eagle. Schweby, it really hits a nice. Oh man, it's just off the basket for that.
Top rung, yeah.
It would have been the only Eagle there on the first shot.
35 birdies on this hole. I believe it was definitely played as the easiest hole through the front nine, and I want to say it could have been for 18 holes.
Definitely, it was the easiest for the 18 holes, I believe. Yeah.
I mean, Jay, we're giving him the birdies here, but that's not easy. He's at least standing above the cage. It is still pretty steep downhill that he was looking at. You and Robert a little bit closer, not as scary of a situation. But you could tell Jay went through his whole putting routine because it was definitely not just a straightforward give me.
A lot of times these putts look like they're really easy. I like to take my time on these. Putting is an important part of the game. Try to give it its due respect.
Looking at our overall leaderboard here, we have through 9 holes, Chris Smith leading the pack at 4 under, and then Brian and Bainbridge, Robert Ryan, everybody's 2 under through 9.
Myself,
You're 2 under.
Tim Messer was right there.
Jay's just 1 stroke back.
So it's these front 9 holes. They do wear and tear on you.
All right, well, join us back for back 9.